So cool. Yeah, you can jump in.
Awesome. So we got Cliff Nielson here coming at you live from the AI studio. And yeah, Cliff and I got connected at a Knees Over Toes event in Sacramento. He just ran into Ben Patrick at the airport randomly. He was going to see Mark Bell. He was doing work for Mark. And we ended up sitting next to each other at dinner. And we got into a deep conversation. I was just blown away asking him questions. He's just a self help enthusiast. He pretty much has knowledge in every single area of self help. And I believe his business is surrounding that and teaching people. His content is based about this. You see him diving into cold ponds and teaching people what to eat and how to move and all this stuff. And he's got a side of humor as well. I remember cracking up in some of his content last year that he was putting out. So yeah, and he's diving into the AI world. He also has this tech side to him where I don't know much about it, but I've seen some of the stuff he showed me on databases he's produced, and he's definitely got a deep side on this tech side. So really amped up to see what you're bringing to us today, Cliff. Thanks for coming.
Cool. All right. Cool. Let's do this, guys. So I'm super sorry I haven't been able to join for some of the other speakers. It is 9 a.m. here in the Philippines. I'm 12 hours off US time right now, and I'm here filming videos for a client. So little bit schedule's a little bit funky. But yeah, so as Max said, I kind of have a broad background in like personal growth, but also in tech. So I started working in marketing and technology in like 2012, it was about 11 years ago. And just my fascination with it has grown over time. And now with all of this, these new AI tools coming in, I've just accelerated my fascination. So I haven't been able to see some of the other calls, so I don't know how the QA is structured, but I would say that the QA component of me being here is probably going to be the more valuable for everybody, because I think that's what really gets people excited about the possibility of using AI. And so today I want to talk about Chat GPT. I'm sure most people, if not everyone on this call, has heard about Chat GPT or even played around with it. Is there a way for you guys to like raise your hand if you have used it? Okay, we got a yes. We got a all right. Cool. All right. I see some hands. This is good. Sweet. So what I'd like to do, I don't have some like big presentation. My biggest thing here is I just want to get everyone here excited about the potential of what you can do with this and how it can be used to amplify yourself. So this can really 10x or 100x your impact if used correctly. It's really just a matter of how creative you are. So I'm gonna screen. Can I screen share? Sick. All right, I'm gonna screen share my kind of Chat GPT interface, and I'll just show you some of the things I've been doing, and it'll give you an idea of how flexible this tool is for really any use case that you come up with. So yeah, oh my gosh, let's go. I'm so excited about this stuff. Okay. Also, if I slip in any Tagalog, I'm not sorry, because I'm here to also learn to speak Tagalog, which is the main language here in the Philippines, which is a great place to start. So okay, so I'm just going to assume that everyone is like roughly familiar with ChatGPT. If you don't have an account by the end of tonight, it's tonight where you are, most likely. If you don't have an account with OpenAI or ChatGPT by the end of the night, then I'm super, super disappointed with you and myself for not getting you excited enough. So that's just like, if I have like one call to action by the end of this, it's to be signed up if you are not signed up. It's free. There's so a little bit about like how these models work. There is a free version. It's a little bit slower. It's not quite as capable. And then there's a paid version. It's $20 a month, worth every penny. And you also get access to like different like plugins. But anyway, you can do a lot with just the free version. So I was talking about learning Tagalog. I got really, really obsessed with the Philippines last year. My background is Luzon, which is where I'm at right now. But I'm in a room, so it's not as cool. And I got really, really fascinated with the Philippines. All of my employees are here in the Philippines. I was like, I need to learn Tagalog. I'm gonna do it. So one day, this is one of the very first prompts that I wrote with. Okay, it's not loading. Sorry. It's also, I have Philippines Wi-Fi as well. So we're gonna have to just see how this goes. Let me see if this will load. Okay. Refresh. Okay, so if this doesn't load, I'll just give you the summary. There was one day I was like, you know what? This was like one of the first prompts I did with ChatGPT. I was like, I wonder if I could use ChatGPT to teach myself a different language. And so I went in there. This isn't the right chain, but I basically went in there and I was like, hey, can you help me create an app that will help me learn to speak Tagalog? So long story short, I went through this like long battery of conversations. I don't know how to program, but I went through a long battery of conversations with ChatGPT, and I was able to generate enough code to create my own language learning app for myself. So, and I used an API with Google Cloud and just connected it to a Google Sheet. And now I have essentially a flashcard system for myself. So this is all 100% generated by ChatGPT. It's like, so it gives me a Tagalog word, and then I'll just do it in English. So umupo ka muna, that means take a seat first. Of course, I like pumunta, it's like to go. Okay, let's go. But anyway, I've used this to really, really understand Tagalog, and it's been powerful being here as a foreigner and actually being able to speak Tagalog. It like literally like their heads snap the second they hear you talking. So another thing, how much time do I have? Okay, cool. So that's just to let you know, like this is a really, really powerful, because that it is allowing to me to do something that I never could have done before, because I don't want to go sit and learn how to program for 6 months just so I can make like a dinky little app. But I was able to make a dinky little app in 4 hours, 5 hours, and it told me how to do everything. I was like, well, I don't know how to do this. What should I do? This is I guess I'm like revealing some semi-private stuff, but I used ChatGPT to write a proposal to work with a client. And I was able to close a deal with them that is paying me an extra like $2,000 a month, creating videos. And I'll just show you like the very first prompt. I'm gonna scroll through backwards a little bit. And this is mostly, again, just to show you another use case that you can potentially use this for. Oh my God, I had a really big conversation with this guy. All right, so it's like, hey, my name's Cliff. I'm gonna be meeting with Brenna and Jeff. Let me get you up to speed. And I like just copied and pasted the email chain. And long story short, I just basically would tell ChatGPT anytime something happened with this client, and it would help me decide what to do. And this, I can promise you, is the ChatGPT is the reason I was able to sign this client, because I also had it do like research. I was like, hey, give me some ideas for concepts that I can do for this client, because I create videos for them. And it gave me this huge list, and I just gave that to the client. I was like, hey, these are some potential concepts I'd like to do for you. And she was blown away. The client was blown away. I used it to write a book for my son. I've used it to do like psychographic analysis for myself. So I write in my journal every single day. And so I have like hundreds of thousands of words that I've written about myself. Like, I'm just like, oh, I'm worried about this. I'm concerned about this. But I guess this is like kind of private, but not. It's like tomorrow you leave to go back to Utah, then it's off to the Philippines. Just basically like, it's like my inner narrative. But anyway, I pasted that into ChatGPT, and I was like, hey, tell me all the good things that happened and all the things that could be improved. And it was like, hey, you're doing good here. You should improve here. But then later on, I was like, hey, what are, I'm trying to find the right spot, but it was basically like, what are some assumptions we can make about this author of the text, and it just started giving me like insights that like a psychologist would do. And it was like, hey, you struggle with this, you should probably consider blah blah blah. But anyway, these are just four really quick examples, but I think that this is most effective during like the QA portion, because then you guys can like tell me a potential use case and I can show you how you could use ChatGPT to amplify it. But before I do that, there's one more super dope thing I want to show you. I have been using ChatGPT to help me with emails, like responding to people. And I will say, like, I'm not like a ChatGPT, like, I'm not doing everything right. That's one thing I'd say. I'm just making this work for me. One thing I would say is like, just be careful with like the type of information you give to this. The disclosure, just to cover my own butt. But basically, the first prompt that you write in ChatGPT is the most important thing you could do, because that sets the terms of the entire conversation that you're going to have. But this is a super dope prompt that if you use ChatGPT, I recommend you steal this. That I can copy. I'm just going to drop it into the chat. If you are interested, you can. Oh wait, I'm sorry, dude. I just saw your. I'm sorry, I haven't been seeing the chat. Sorry, bro. Message is too long. Okay, I'm gonna send this to Max, but this prompt is so fire. So basically, here's what's gonna happen. This opening prompt sets the terms for the whole conversation, and it's like, hey, I'm gonna give you some emails, and I want you to learn and emulate my style. And then basically, I sent it basically a shit ton of emails of like good examples of my type of writing. Like, for example, it's like, hey, Sabrina, how are you doing? I'd still love to work with you guys. Do you have any questions about what I've sent over? Let me know. All the best, Cliff. That's my kind of email. That's like how I would write an email. And so I gave it a ton of examples. And then later on, okay, it started, I would give it like an example of like something, sorry, I wish it was easier to like scan through these. Too much. Sweet. Okay. So basically, now that it knows my style, I can, if I receive an email from a client or I want to say something to a client, I can say, hey, I want to reach out to so-and-so and I need to remind them to be on the call on Thursday. And that's it. That's all I have to say. And then I can just say like enter, and it'll like generate exactly what I want to say. So like this, man, this is probably not the best format to like show you guys exactly how to do this. I just want to let you know, if you use the prompt I just showed you, it can allow you to write really, really precise, excellent emails in your own voice, but saying the exact thing you would have said anyway. So it's not like you're having AI like go work for you. It's saying exactly what you would say. It just makes it easier to get over that hump and actually send that email. So instead of sending 1 or 2 emails, you could send 10 emails if you needed to. So I would love to get some like Q&A going on. I think it'd be really cool to get some potential use cases, and I'll just kind of walk you through how I would approach it. What's up, bro? Garrett?
I got a question for how would you say an online coach, like that's like pretty much most of our community, right? They're trying to launch an online program and they're trying to acquire clients, build out programs. Where do you see ChatGPT coming in for that guy? What are the typical like applications he can use it for?
Okay, so okay. You gave me like all the information I needed. I wish I could just copy and paste what you just said. But what's like the biggest problem that you would say a coach is facing? It's like getting more clients, right? Or
Yeah, either growing on their social media or just getting actual sales on their clients.
Let's go. Social media. This thing is savage with social media. Okay, so here's what you do. If I want to use ChatGPT to help me make social media content, which I do, by the way, I've used it to write scripts for TikTok, and then I've read it off verbatim, and people wouldn't know the difference. So you can So here's what I would do. If you're going to use ChatGPT for social media content, son, wait, I actually might have done this already. I could just show you, but I'm going to use it to generate like a content plan. So here's what I would do. I would go into ChatGPT and I would say, I would tell ChatGPT what ChatGPT is. So it's like, you are an expert in social media content strategy. You will help me create a content plan for the next 30 days. I am a health. I don't like that. I need to be more specific. I am an expert in. I am a breath coach. Let's go. I help people. Okay, help me out, bro. What do we help people do? Ben.
Breathe through their nose.
Breathe. Yes. I know that it might take this a little bit too literally, and it might make all of your content about like, well, okay. You just kind of want to be somewhat broad, but also specific. So breathe through. Okay. Here's a better way. I help people utilize nasal breathing to maximize what?
Navigating stress.
Ooh, yes. Stress in their daily life. Sick. All right. I'm a breath coach. I help people, blah, blah, blah. Now who specifically do you help the most? Is there like a specific like audience or type of person? Is it like literally anybody? Do you work with like athletes specifically, or?
Let's think of it like just the like lawyers. I want it's the everyday person,
High
right?
performer? Okay.
Yeah, high performance, because they're dealing with more stress. The athlete will, athletes do it more naturally.
Oh,
Like
okay, okay.
they want it, whereas you have to sell it to them. More of these high performing people, like they need to be convinced. You know what I mean?
Okay, okay. Um uh okay, I'm sorry, there's a lot of typing going on. They aren't necessarily athletes, but they they aren't necessarily athletes, but
Wouldn't it just be called everyday people, like normal people?
just, you can use like very casual language with ChatGPT and it'll completely understand what you're saying. So they
Cool.
do you have a program that you sell?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you tell me a little bit about it?
Yeah. It's called Building a Baseline Breath. We do a 30-day 30-day course where we do 4 weekly Zoom sessions throughout the month, and they build a baseline breath that allows them to change their basic breathing habit so they can navigate stress throughout their day.
Sick. Thank you. Oh, also, thank you for like helping co-pilot this with me. So breathing habits. I'd like to mention or incorporate this program into my strategy. I know this is the hardest part, guys. Like once you get this first prompt done, like just things to just accelerate. But this is the most, if you're going to apply your thinking to ChatGPT, it is right here, this very first prompt, because it sets the whole conversation. Okay, so I'm going to incorporate this strategy into my social media strategy, but I don't want to be too salesy. Wait. Sorry. And push people away. Okay, cool. Let's see what we got here. The chat GPT, prompt GPT. Hey John, I haven't used prompt GPT. There's a ton of like, dude, this whole like area is like accelerating rapidly. I can't keep up with all of it. But there's probably easier ways to write these prompts. Okay, so let's just run through the prompt real quick. I'm telling ChatGPT what ChatGPT is, and I'm telling it what I want help with. So I've defined who and what ChatGPT is. They're an expert in social strategy. They're going to help me create a content plan for the next 30 days. Hey, Ben, do you use Instagram mostly? Cool. You help me. I want to create videos and there's a better way to say that, but I'm just trying to speed up. I'm a breath coach. I help people target audience. So I told ChatGPT what it is. I told ChatGPT what I want. I told ChatGPT who I am. I told ChatGPT who I'm trying to reach. I told ChatGPT the kind of like underlying like big good thing that could happen from all this. It's like this really guides the social strategy, because it's like then you will organically be talking about the types of topics that will reinforce your program without actually pushing it on people, without being like every day like, all right guys, sign up, you got to sign up today. Like that's like the worst way to introduce people to a program. That's like the last thing you would want to say. Like okay, let's see how this goes. All right, I'm here to help you create a compelling strategy. All right, day one, let's go. So first you're going to say, hey, I'm Ben. I'm so passionate about, you would say this in your own voice, but you would tell people about like why you're into breath coaching and why it matters. Simple video. Okay. Day two, image and caption, post a graphic representation. So post a picture of like the respiratory system. So anyway, like what I would do now, I would go through all of this. And if I were you, Ben, I would like paste it into a separate doc and just start like deleting anything that didn't really apply to you. And you're like, no, that's not a good idea. Or no, I would never say that. But in looking at like 30 days of content, you would start seeing a lot of really powerful things that you could apply to your own strategy. So maybe it gives you 30 days and you only use 15 of them, but now you have 15 days of content plan. But I'd like to, it's 9:24. I would like to push back on ChatGPT a little bit, because this is another really important thing that people should understand if you're still getting familiar with ChatGPT, is you can really push this. So you can say like, so normally I would read through all this and I would understand it a little bit better. It's like, that was okay, but now I'm going to totally change this thing up. I'm actually trying to target only lawyers and attorneys. Thanks for the clarification. All right, let's go. All right, day two, infographic, lawyer burnout. You'd say like all the reasons why lawyers are stressed, blah, blah, blah. Demonstrate a nasal breathing technique that lawyers can use before they enter the courtroom or during a challenging case. That is so specific and awesome. I would just stop it, and here it's like, actually, so sorry. I meant to say doctors. Let's see what she got. No problem. Here we go. Help doctors manage stress during long shifts and the emotional challenges of the profession. Burnout in the medical profession. Share a success story where a doctor used your program to manage stress. Anyway, like you can really, really hit this thing. Ben, do you have any like 30-second thoughts here?
You're the last call, so I mean, if people have questions, we can stay on as long as you got time, Cliff.
Sick. Cool. Yeah, dude, I'm happy. It's morning for me, so I'm just getting going. I see from Ryan, I had ChatGPT on my phone. That's a really good point. ChatGPT is available on iPhone, and I would highly recommend you get it because it does you can use the voice to text, and it's super, super powerful. Like it's really good at I've used it to like write journal entries and stuff, like hey, June 22nd, and I would like just talk for a long time and then have it fix all of my grammatical errors, and then I would copy and paste it into my journal. Okay. Questions? Ben, go. What do you think about this? What are you going to do
Mate,
with this?
yeah, this is I like it. I like it a lot in the sense I guess I've just got to figure out these prompts, be able to figure out the way that you're prompting it to that was a great little layout. I'm gonna have to
Yeah.
come back for that because yeah, man, like it's hidden. I know those things, but if it can add just 15-10% of some
Mhm.
new idea that creates some stimulus that then I'm like, oh man, I could do that. That's huge.
Mhm.
And it also might tap into something specifically that I'm not, because I'm not a fucking doctor. I have to tell people that like it would actually like have something specific for it. So
Yeah.
I'm grateful for you getting me excited about this because I was almost nervous to use this
Oh,
shit. So
dude.
yeah, I like had a go and I was like, it's kind of fun, but it was
Mhm.
almost like a fun little way. And now I'm understanding that you're using prompts you're telling it what, yeah, you're framing it. That was
Mhm.
brilliant, mate. Thanks, Cliff.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like it's the difference between like walking up to one of your clients and saying like breathe. No, breathe
Mm,
better. Right? So that's like one option instead of being like, hey, come sit down with me for a second. All right, I want you to close your mouth. I want you to breathe in through your nose for 4 seconds. Like it's the difference of like instruction, right? The outcome will be drastically different depending on how you prompt it, right? Okay, let's Garrett, about how to write effective prompts. Yes, you totally can. So there's a couple of ways to do that. It's like, let's open up a new chat real quick.
Wait, I didn't necessarily want you to go in depth in that. If we're doing in depth prompts, I have a much more useful one. But if John has a question that is not like a whole prompt, I'd much prefer you go
Oh,
first.
yeah,
do it,
sick.
please.
Well, one thing I would just say though is Ben is like, if you're confused, like if you're hitting an obstacle with ChatGPT, you can always ask ChatGPT like, hey, I'm not sure how to ask this, but I'm trying to say blah, blah, blah. And then it'll like kind of push back. It's like, Garrett, sounds like you have there's just, there's this whole prompt thing is like a whole, there's copy and paste prompts you can go find on like Reddit, and there's all sorts of companies that are offering them. Yeah, John, let's go. Yeah, this is a great prompt. Okay, this is a really good like initial prompt. Okay, you're a prompt engineer with it. Tell you what my goal for a thread is, and you'll write. Sick. Is this, hey Ben, sorry John, is this the initial prompt that you would give ChatGPT?
Yeah, and then I would create the separate, whatever you call them, personas from there, and then
Oh,
I would
that's
use
so
it.
cool.
It gives you like dot points, sometimes tables, all this sort of stuff to like as part of its initial prompt.
That's super cool. I just, I haven't used this prompt or anything quite like it. But there's, like, I'm telling you, like that's the whole thing with me talking right now is I just want people to come away like a little bit more excited by the potential of this and kind of lower the barrier to entry to just like get in there, try it with Chat GPT 3.5, because there's a paid version and non-paid. And just start playing around. Like think about your big ambition, your big goal, and start asking yourself like, hey, what are some ways I could actually use ChatGPT to accomplish that goal? It's like, what's my biggest pain point? Oh shit, I don't know what to post tomorrow. It's like, all right, start there. Yeah, John, I'm gonna steal this prompt. I've pasted it. It's mine now. Hey,
I stole it
What's that?
I stole it as well, so it's no big deal.
Sick. Yeah, it's probably like in like, yeah, it's floated around. Man, there's you guys, like, look on the left. These are all different threads that I've had with ChatGPT. I have really like just went in and used it for a lot of different things. I've used it to write newsletters, but I don't have it write for me. I'll like work with ChatGPT. That's one of the best things you could do, is think about ChatGPT as like an assistant or a co-pilot, not the pilot. You are the pilot. You need to use ChatGPT as an assistant, and it really it amplifies yourself. Instead of just being like, instead of just like telling it to write a blog post about breathing that's 500 words and then copying and pasting it, that is like not how you want to do it. Instead, you'd be like, I want to write a blog post about breathing, but I'm not sure where to start. That's how you would want to start that conversation, instead of just co-pilot. That's just like a really important word I would have in mind. Does anyone have any questions, comments, concerns?
Mine was a question. I just had the hand up for that one. It was really like looking at coaches. A lot of the work we do is like there's like almost a system. Like people ask certain questions, there's always a pretty consistent answer. Is it possible, in the way you've done the language stuff, to have a database of question responses and then have like an automated text-based support, or like an app that you could develop where you have responses that reply to people based on, like, it's a live coaching response?
Yeah, very much so. Now, just a little bit of clarification that I should have said before. My degree is in information systems. I've been working with this type of thing for a long time. My brother's a machine learning engineer. But there's a lot of areas that I don't fully know and understand. But I would say that's barely scratching the surface of what's coming. Very, very much so. That technology probably exists somewhere. And it would just be a matter of like having an app interface, which you could have ChatGPT help you design, or you hire an engineer to help create an interface, and then you would use ChatGPT to answer these questions. If I had like 20 minutes, I would go and show you like how I would build that. But basically, John, one thing you could do is go into ChatGPT, and you'd have to sit and think about like how you want to structure your prompt. But you'd say like, my current, I'm going to describe 5 of my current clients and tell you all of their pain points. And you'd kind of like, essentially how I would do it is like train ChatGPT on the types of questions that you get from your clients, and then the types of answers you would give those clients. And then so you feed it a shit ton of data. Like you can really, if you have ChatGPT 4, this thing has a really long memory, like 30,000 words, I think. So you can feed it a ton of information and start asking it like once you've fed it all that information, you can say like, hey, my clients or you could have like someone on your team that isn't you, but wants to say what you would say. Say like, client just asked me about give me like one problem one of your clients has.
They're struggling with an emotion. So they might be getting hooked by fear of starting.
Okay. Well, this is a little tricky because so let's say that's a common issue that your clients have is fear. I would feed ChatGPT a shit ton of information on what you think about how people should deal with fear. And then I would then, let's say you're hitting a sticking point where you're like super busy, you're not sure what to say, you've been procrastinating on replying to your client. You would just go into ChatGPT. I would do it on your phone and say, hey, a client just asked me about fear. They've been struggling with this. Do you have any thoughts on what I should say? Give me 3 options. I would say to ChatGPT, say like, give me 3 options. And then it would shoot back 3 things you could potentially say. And then you, being the pilot, would look at those and probably grab one of them, improve it, put it in your own voice, and then give it to your client. Now it's not, ChatGPT didn't necessarily do it. You did. Remember, you fed it all that information. It learned from what you did. It aggregated it, and then you asked it, and then you ran the show. It just helped you. That's how I would think about that. But yes, in the future, apps are gonna do this. The future is coming. Things are gonna be like really crazy. I know that's really vague, but every month this has just accelerated. So imagine where things are going to be in a decade. You'll just be talking to a virtual coach that you own that coach. Like, it's kind of wild. Any questions, comments, concerns?
Yes, bro.
What's up, Garrett?
Thank you, by the way. Are you up for another use case scenario?
Yeah, boy. It's like I said, it's morning for me. Yeah. What you got?
So I am a construction contractor in Austin, Texas.
All right.
I would like help estimating or writing a formal quote to send to a client for a job.
Sick. Just so you know, ChatGPT is extremely good at this kind of thing. Let me actually show you. It's super, super good at this. Let me show you something. Well, let me just see. I think I have it. Okay, just so you know, we can go. We can work through this just kind of fresh. ChatGPT is extremely good at writing proposals. Extremely good. So here's, just before I even start writing, here's some things you should have in mind. Is like, we're talking about like, you could get into like some financial territory, so always do your due diligence of like what it's going to say. But so Garrett, what you told me before, I need you to tell me again. So it's like,
I'm a construction contractor in Austin, Texas.
Okay. Do you have a specialty?
General contracting.
Cool. Okay.
Not so no.
Okay. Wait a second. I am a construction contractor in Austin, Texas. I am a general contractor. And what you want to use ChatGPT to do what?
I want it to help me create a formal proposal for a project at the Northwest Soccer Complex in Leander, Texas.
Oh, okay, we're getting specific. Okay.
Should you do that? Like, can you be like that with this tool?
You totally can. And and the only concern, there's a couple things. It's like ChatGPT is trained on like 60% of the internet up till 2021. And so it has a ton of information, but it doesn't have all of the data that it would need. It knows like where that is, but it doesn't know like how far. Anyway, it knows a lot, but it might have some gaps in its understanding. Okay, I'm a construction contractor. What's that?
Well, the only reason why that might be prudent is because like it could potentially, if it could look at a Google image of the facility now, and then it might be able to draw data from that image, because there's an unfinished project that I'm being called in to complete. And so I'm wondering, would this tool be able to, like, if that image is in Google Maps or something, and it can see a street view or something, or the satellite view, and it can know the distances and stuff like that.
So something I want you to understand is ChatGPT doesn't have eyes. So it is just trained on text-based data, and then it's made assumptions based on that of like if it said let's say it read a Wikipedia article that was talking about like how many people live in that area, the elevation, like then I could ask it, or then it knows things. I don't know how best to say this. Basically, it doesn't have vision yet, but eventually it'll probably have some form of vision. Okay, let's knock out some of this. So I'm a construction contractor in Austin, Texas. I'm a general contractor. I'd like your help with writing a proposal for building a soccer. What's it called?
Here, no, let me just send you I'll post it to the chat real quick.
Sick. Right. Just guys, like it'll probably take like 2 minutes to finish up this prompt, and then we can get into cool stuff. Okay. So this is what you'd like to do for your client?
Yeah, that's the proposal that I literally need. I want to send him by Monday. I'm planning on doing it tomorrow, but I mean, this is happening, so let's roll with it.
Okay, cool. Well, this is maximize your productivity.
Yes, exactly.
It's what's it called? A soccer complex?
Northwest Soccer Complex is the name of the facility. NWSC. That's how they abbreviate it.
NWC?
NWSC, Northwest Soccer Complex in Leander, Texas. I don't know if that matters.
Okay, watch. You can be kind of big. I need to send my client a proposal to work on in Leander, Texas. These are the services I'd like to offer. This is not just in the interest of time. I would structure this. I would spend a lot of time. I would think really hard about what I want it to do. And I'd probably spend like 15 minutes, but just to show you like how quickly this can do it. I'll just use this, what we have right here. So please create a formal proposal with a high level of detail. Give me a ballpark of how much you want to ask the client, or like how much do you think they're going to charge, or how much are you going to charge them?
$5 to $8 grand.
I'd to let me show you something cool. Please include. This is going to blow your mind. I would do quality assurance on this to make sure it's everything I need it to be, but just in the interest of time, let's fire it. Let's go. All right. This is good. Yeah, dude, it's fire.
I said, dang.
I know. It's really, really crazy. So I would go through this, refine it. And given that you're talking about money, you might want to have someone take a look at it. But I would also do this. Like, let's say it's like super long and way too detailed. I would say like, that was good, but can you create a more concise version for me?
Epic.
All right, now it's going to give me a more concise one. You can do that. Yeah, I would literally go in there. I would press this button, copy it, put it into a separate doc, and then workshop it. Like I would go through and be like, nah, that's not what I do. Like, and then so basically this gets you like 70% there, whereas you were at 0% before, or 10% before.
Yeah, for sure. And in second.
Yeah, it did it like that. And you could do that with the free version. It just wouldn't be as good. All right. Well, how are we doing, Max?
Thank you, bro.
All good.
Yeah, you're welcome.
You can keep going if anybody has any other questions or prompts.
Yeah. Anybody? I'm happy to jump into another use case, or if you have a specific question, I'm happy to just tell you, like, and work through it to the best of my ability. Anybody?
Yeah, I got another question.
Cool.
So to your knowledge, does it like remember its own conversations with you, or do you have to tell it to recall specific interactions or instances?
It only remembers it in a specific thread. Okay. So let's say,
can you point it to previous threads and be like, hey, remember when you did this, make sure you utilize that information?
Dude, that's a really great question. And I think that type of that will come eventually. It doesn't exist yet. So like, for example, if I wanted to take the one about breath coaching, if I were to ask, here in this construction a proposal conversation, like, hey, remember the social media plan I did about breath coaching? Can you do one like that for construction? Like if you were to ask it that in this here, it would have no idea what you're talking about.
So each one's basically a new instance with totally fresh brain.
Yeah, imagine these as like all different individual assistants that have no idea about the other one. But eventually I think it'll aggregate. That's my theory, is eventually ChatGPT will aggregate everything into like one bigger model that'll be more expensive to access. That's my theory. So basically that's something I wanted to mention originally is prompt. So two most important things with ChatGPT: the initial prompt that you write. Incredibly, see you, John. It was great to meet you. Let's connect. So two most important things with ChatGPT: the initial prompt that you write, and then thread control. So what you were just talking about, Garrett, is like the conversations between them. It's like now I've gotten to the point where I only talk about one thing inside of each one. So like I have one that I use for emails. I have one that I use for scripts. I have one that I use for one specific client. I would, for you, it's like, you would have like, if you write a lot of proposals, I would train ChatGPT on every proposal you've written. I would probably delete any private information out of it, and I would give it a ton of my proposals. And then next time you have a proposal, say like, hey, I've got another client. They want to do just drywall. What should I say? And then it would shoot back the exact proposal in the same like structure you would normally do. Yeah, it's super cool. Yeah, very cool. But I would just a note is like privacy. So if I wouldn't add any super private information like ever. I kind of break some rules. Like I'll mention my clients, but some people shouldn't mention their clients or phone numbers or email addresses, because this thing, it has a good memory. So
you can conceivably tell it like anonymize this information, but maintain a variable for it so that you can recall it or something like that.
It totally can, but then you've planted that information in ChatGPT, or sorry, you've planted it in OpenAI's database. They still have that. I would just think about it as like we're building Skynet right now. So everything you give it is going to be data for Skynet. So just if you don't want the information used against you in the future, or you don't want anyway,
so like try to use publicly accessible information, basically.
That's what I would do. I wouldn't use anything private, anything you wouldn't want, like one of your neighbors that doesn't like you to know. That's what I would like. That's like the barrier I would use. Yeah, dude. Anyone else? Any questions? I'm probably going to wrap up soon, Max.
Yeah, it's all good. What Garrett said kind of reminded me of pretty much the only way I've been using it in Notion as like for a lot of writing stuff. And then like, for example, I created a document that lists out all my copywriting principles that I've learned, of like, this is how to write copywriting. And then when I write a piece of blog or whatever, I highlight it and I just say, hey, can you take a look at the pages that I've linked at the top of this page, and then rewrite this according to those copywriting principles. And then it edits those.
Love it.
But it kind of related to what Garrett was talking about, like you're linking to a previous conversation, which I think I like about Notion, because you're kind of moving closer towards what you're saying, where it's going to be this, like eventually it understands everything about you, which it's not there in Notion. Like it's every new page you create, it's a whole new thing, just like this. But yeah, that's one of the use cases I've had.
I haven't used Notion's AI like yet at all, but I hear really, really good things about it. And you're exactly right. Is you can train it on a lot more different things. I do think that, anyway, I don't actually have to say much more, because you basically I agree with you. It's one thing I just want to mention is like, Max, when we spoke, man, I don't know. We had a Zoom call when I was in Colorado, and this was way before all of this like AI hype started rolling out. And I was talking to you about like different projects that I had going, like for my own stuff. And I showed you my Roam database when we were talking, and I showed you
show me the one with like you were creating like a bunch of people basically. You were creating like, you know, like you could read Steve Jobs' brain or whatever.
Yeah. So my mind mentors.
Yeah.
And so now, yeah, dude, there's like, now imagine everything I was talking about. Now I can use ChatGPT to accelerate that. So I could essentially like create like Steve Jobs as a mentor for me in ChatGPT and ask it like, hey, I want to give up on my company. What would Steve Jobs do? Like, and then it would, based on everything I've given it. Well, so that's one thing, but one thing I'd say is like, even when there is a point when we can upload more data to ChatGPT, I am so ready because this is my Roam database. So all of these lines that you see, all the little dots are different like things that I've written about. And it's like, I have this huge, I have probably like 500,000 words that I've written. Then there's going to be a point when I'm going to give this to a ChatGPT or a language learning model. And I'll be able to say like, this thing will be able to replicate Cliff. Like that's where I see this going, is eventually we're going to have virtual avatars of ourselves that would, that we will give permission to speak for us in certain situations. When that time comes, I'm going to be ready. I'll be one of the first people with a virtual avatar. Like that's coming, guys. Just so you know, like that's very much coming. Eventually, we're going to have just kind of like an agent that can go out into the virtual world and do shit for us, into the metaverse or the AR or whatever. Yeah, that's, I don't know. I could ramble about this all day. Definitely, everyone connect with me. Hit me up. You can go to thecliffedge.co. That's my website. There's ways to find me on there. You can go hit me up on Instagram at thecliffedge. Yeah, let's go, Ryan. Cool. All right, Max. I'll turn the time over to you. This has been awesome.
Epic. That was amazing. Cool. And
Thanks,
a little sneak peek of the Roam research project makes you an even more mysterious man, I think. Because that was a lot. That's very cool stuff. I appreciate you coming, man.
Yeah, this has been amazing. Thank you guys so much. I'm in a dip, but again, like I said, please connect with me. Good luck with everything, Max. Bye.